Hi, welcome back to the Coin Studio. Did you know a tiny Australian coin could be worth over $1.5 million? From secret mint errors to lost gold treasures, these rare coins are hiding in plain sight, maybe even in your pocket right now. Let's uncover the top 50 most valuable Australian coins ever discovered. Let's moving on. Number 50. 2014 1 Anzac Centenary C Mint Mark Coin. The 2014 1 Anzac Centenary coin bearing the C Mint mark is more than just a commemorative issue. It's a tribute to the legacy of courage and sacrifice made by Australian soldiers in World War I, released by the Royal Australian Mint to honor the 100th anniversary of Australia's involvement in the Great War. This coin was part of a series intended to remind current and future generations of the profound national impact of the Anzac story. The coin features a powerful and respectful design. On the reverse, a solemn image of an Australian soldier stands silhouetted against a backdrop of barbed wire, reflecting the harshness of the battlefield. The soldier is seen bowing his head in remembrance, creating a moment of silence on metal. Above him is the inscription 100. Years of Anzac, the spirit lives, a phrase that resonates deeply with Australians and those with military heritage around the world. The obverse bears the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This coin was specially struck with a C mint mark, denoting Canberra, and issued in limited edition folder packaging, which has since become a favorite among collectors. While it was available for face value during release, through official mints and events, its appeal has only grown with time. The symbolic weight it carries makes it a highly desirable collectible. Today, collectors are willing to pay well above face value for a pristine, uncirculated example in its original folder. Depending on condition and completeness of the packaging, the market value for the 2014 Anzac Centenary C Mint Mark coin currently ranges between $2,500 to $4,500 UD. Coins in absolutely flawless condition or with limited release certifications may fetch slightly more from passionate collectors or history enthusiasts. Number 49, 1997 $1 small head coin. At first glance, the 1997 $1 coin may appear like any other standard issue. However, for seasoned collectors, this particular variety is instantly recognizable and holds a special place in the numismatic world. Known colloquially as the small head dollar, this rare variant stands apart from the common 1997 dollar due to one subtle but crucial detail. Its obverse portrait of Queen Elizabeth II is significantly smaller than usual. This small head design actually uses the obverse die intended for 10-cent coins, a production error that resulted in a striking anomaly. It is believed that during the minting process, some of the dies were mismatched, leading to this incorrect pairing. Because of this error, only a limited number of these coins entered circulation before the mistake was caught and corrected. What makes the 1997 small head dollar fascinating is not just its rarity, but also the way it reflects the intricacies and occasional imperfections of minting. For collectors who specialize in varieties and mint errors, this coin is a hidden gem, one that adds a layer of mystery and uniqueness to any Australian dollar coin collection. Due to its extremely limited known population and increasing demand, especially among collectors of oddities and production mistakes, the market value for the 1997 where small head coin stands today at approximately $3,000 to $4,000. Odd in high-grade condition, verified examples with third-party grading or authenticated provenance can sell for even more at auction. Number 48, 2001 dollar mule coin. Arguably one of the most celebrated and valuable circulation errors in Australian numismatics, the 2001 dollar mule coin has become a legend in its own right. This coin is the result of a remarkable minting error when the wrong obverse die was accidentally used during production. Specifically, a 10-cent obverse die was matched with a $1 reverse die, creating a unique hybrid that should never have existed. What distinguishes the mule coin visually is its double rim on the obverse, a byproduct of the misalignment in size between the 10-cent and $1 coin dies. It's this noticeable extra rim that first drew the attention of collectors and everyday Australians alike. While millions of ordinary $1 coins were minted in 2000, only a small batch of these mule errors made it into circulation from the Perth Mint. Initially found in everyday change and mistakenly believed to be just another $1 coin, it didn't take long for numismatists to realize just how rare and significant this piece was. As word spread, the mule gained a cult following, sparking coin hunts across the country and making headlines in numismatic circles. The demand for this coin remains high to this day. Its story of human error, discovery, and the thrill of treasure hidden in plain sight makes it a highly sought-after piece. In circulated condition, the 2000 mule dollar can fetch $4,000 to $5,000 AUD, while uncirculated or professionally graded examples have sold for as much as $6,000 to $8,000 AUD, and in some cases, even higher during peak auction seasons. Number 47. The 1953 florin marks a pivotal moment in both British and Australian history, the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, minted in the year the young Queen ascended the throne following the death of her father, King George VI. This coin was the first Australian florin to bear her effigy. For collectors, this issue signifies the beginning of a new royal era and holds historical gravitas, far beyond its face value. The reverse of the coin retains the traditional Australian coat of arms, featuring the kangaroo and emu with the seven-pointed Commonwealth star and shield. However, it is the obverse portrait that makes this coin especially meaningful. Designed by Mary Gillick, the young queen is depicted uncrowned, a design that differs from the more mature crowned portraits seen in later years. The freshness and youth of this design reflect the hope and optimism that surrounded the beginning of her reign. Despite being a regular issue coin, the 1953 florin holds a certain ceremonial and emotional significance for both monarchists and coin collectors alike. It was struck in copper nickel, following the end of silver coinage in 1945, yet its detail and condition are often exceptional due to the high mintage quality of that year. As a collector's item, the 1953 florin remains very accessible, but premium specimens, especially those in brilliant, uncirculated or proof-like condition, can command notable sums. The current market value for the 1953 coronation florin ranges from $15 to $50 AUD in circulated condition, and up to $5,500 to $6,500 AUD for high-grade or mint state coins. Number 46, 1946 penny. Key date. The 1946 penny is a crucial piece in any serious Australian pre-decimal collection. It stands out not only for its rarity, but also because of the historical period it represents. Minted just after the end of World War II, this coin reflects a time of reconstruction, national recovery, and changing priorities within the Royal Australian Mint. Only 240,000 of these pennies were produced in 1946, a remarkably low mintage compared to other years, making it one of the scarcest Australian pennies ever struck. The reasons behind the limited issue remain a topic of interest among historians and collectors. It's believed that the Royal Mint had an excess of coins from wartime production, leading to a reduced requirement for pennies in 1946. On the reverse of the coin is the classic leaping kangaroo design, an enduring symbol of Australian identity. The obverse features the effigy of King George VI. Together, they form a perfect visual representation of mid-century Australia, caught between the traditions of the British monarchy and a growing sense of independent national identity. The 1946 penny is especially desirable in high grades. While worn examples do occasionally appear in bulk lots or old family hoards, finding a coin in excellent or uncirculated condition is a true challenge. This scarcity, coupled with its post-war narrative, gives it immense collector appeal. Today, a well-circulated 1946 penny is typically valued between $300 to $700 AUD. However, specimens in near uncirculated or uncirculated condition can command $7,000 to $8,000 AUD, with superb examples graded by third-party services, sometimes fetching even more in premium auctions. Number 45, 1966 20-cent wavy baseline. The 1966 20-cent wavy baseline coin is a true Australian rarity that continues to capture the imagination of collectors and experts alike. At a glance, it may seem identical to the standard 20-cent coin issued during Australia's switch to decimal currency in 1966, but the difference lies in a subtle, almost hidden detail on the coin's reverse, specifically on the baseline of the number 2. Unlike the regular issue, which has a smooth baseline under the 2, this special variety features a wavy or curved baseline, almost like a ripple in the water. This curious design quirk occurred due to a variation in one of the master dies used during early minting. What makes the wavy baseline coin so fascinating is not only its visual uniqueness, but also its accidental nature. It wasn't meant to exist as a separate variety, and that unintentional status adds mystique and desirability. Collectors often use magnification or side-by-side comparison to identify the difference, because only a small number of these coins were released into circulation. Before the die was corrected, surviving examples are extremely rare and usually show signs of wear. However, even circulated examples carry immense value due to demand and scarcity. This iconic decimal era variety commands serious money in the marketplace. A circulated 1966 wavy baseline 20-cent coin typically sells for $250 to $600 AUD, while examples in higher grades can reach $1,000 to $2,500 AUD. Top-tier, uncirculated specimens, especially those professionally graded and authenticated, have been known to fetch prices well over $14,000 AUD, making it one of the most valuable 20-cent pieces in Australian numismatics. Number 44, 1925 halfpenny. The 1925 halfpenny is widely considered a key date in Australian pre-decimal coin collecting. Struck during the reign of King George V, this coin has become renowned for its limited, mintage, and increasingly scarce presence in the collector market. For anyone assembling a complete set of Australian halfpennies, the 1925 issue is an unavoidable challenge and one of the most essential. Only 1/13/600 halfpennies were minted in 1925, which is a significantly lower number compared to the surrounding years. This low mintage makes it rare by sheer production volume, but even rarer when you consider how few high-grade examples have survived. During the 1920s, coins were circulated heavily and not often saved in mint state, so most surviving 1925 halfpennies today are heavily worn or damaged. The obverse features the crowned effigy of King George V, while the reverse displays the traditional 1 halfpenny denomination within a circle, surrounded by the words Commonwealth of Australia and the date. It may seem like a simple design, but for collectors, it represents one of the most difficult holes to fill in a complete pre-decimal set. Circulated examples of the 1925 halfpenny range in value from $60 to $200 AUD, depending on the wear. In better preserved condition, such as very fine or extremely fine grades, the coin can sell for $400 to $900 AUD. And for the rare mint state or uncirculated specimen, prices may exceed $7,500 to $8,500 AUD, particularly if third-party graded. Number 43, 1925 penny. While the 1925 halfpenny is known for its scarcity, the 1925 penny is no less significant and remains one of the most sought-after key date coins in Australian numismatics. With a relatively low mintage of 1,639,200, this penny stands out as one of the major rarities in the Commonwealth penny series, especially in higher grades. Struck under the reign of King George V, the 1925 penny was minted during a time of economics fluctuation and post-war uncertainty. As a result, minting levels were erratic, and few coins were put aside in uncirculated condition. Over time, the vast majority of these coins endured circulation, leading to a scarcity of high-quality examples today. The coin features the crowned bust of King George V on the obverse and the denomination 1 penny in a simple yet iconic format on the reverse. Collectors recognize this issue as one of the big three key dates for the pre-decimal penny series, alongside the 1923 and 1930 pennies. Owning a solid example of the 1925 penny is a badge of honor among serious collectors. In average circulated condition, the 1925 penny commands $80 to $250 AUD, while coins in very fine to extremely fine condition typically fetch $500 to $1 AUD. For well-preserved, uncirculated examples, particularly those that are professionally graded and free from corrosion or pitting, the market value can soar to $12,000 to $2,500 AUD or more depending on provenance and buyer competition. Number 42, 1966 round 50-cent silver coin. When decimal currency was introduced in Australia in 1966, one of the standout releases was the round 50-cent coin. Unlike its later dodecagonal cousins, this original version was round in shape, and most importantly, struck in 80% silver. For this reason alone, the 1966 round 50-cent coin remains not only a collector's item but also a tangible store of precious metal value. The obverse features the youthful effigy of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machine, while the reverse boasts the elegant Australian coat of arms. This includes the kangaroo, emu, and Commonwealth star, all hallmarks of Australian iconography. What makes the coin truly fascinating, however, is its short lifespan. Due to its high intrinsic silver value, it quickly became worth more as bullion than as legal tender. As a result, it was removed from circulation and replaced in 1969 by the familiar dodecagonal cupronickel version. Even today, many Australians remember holding these heavy silver coins in their youth before they quietly vanished. The coin's silver content gives it lasting value, both to numismatists and bullion investors. Most examples were melted down or hoarded, but millions still survive in collections, often in uncirculated rolls or carefully stored away in coin albums. The market value of a circulated 1966 round 50-cent coin is closely tied to the price of silver, but typically sits around 120 to 180 AUD. However, uncirculated or near mint examples can command $250 to $500. And truly pristine pieces, especially those with brilliant luster or third-party grading, can exceed $2,800 to $3,200 AUD, depending on market demand and silver fluctuations. Number 41, 1920 penny double dot. The 1920 double dot penny is one of the most intriguing varieties in the entire Australian prodecimal coin series. Issued during the reign of King George III, this unique coin is classified as a variety, meaning it differs from standard 1920 pennies in a very specific way, through the presence of two raised dots on the reverse, positioned strategically near the scroll and above the bottom scroll beads. These dots are not decorative elements. Rather, they were likely the result of tooling or die adjustments during minting. Their presence creates a significant visual distinction that collectors have come to revere. It's believed that these double dot varieties were struck at the Sydney Mint, and that their numbers are extremely limited. This makes them not just a date-specific rarity, but also a major die variety. The obverse features the crowned effigy of King George III, and the reverse maintains the familiar 1 penny within a ring of text and dots. However, for those who know what to look for, the additional dots elevate this from a common 1920 penny into a coveted treasure. The hunt for the correct alignment and placement of these dots makes examining 1920 pennies an engaging adventure for specialists. Due to its extreme scarcity, the 1920 double dot penny commands strong prices in the collector market. Well-circulated examples can range from $1,000 to $2,000 AUD, while coins in better grade, such as very fine or extremely fine, can sell for $3,500 to $6,000 AUD. Top quality, uncirculated examples are virtually unheard of but could fetch $1,000 AUD, or more depending on buyer interest and the intensity of auction competition. Number 40. 2001 Centenary of Federation 50C State Designs. The 2001 Centenary of Federation 50 cent series is a modern triumph in Australian coinage and one of the most ambitious commemorative projects ever undertaken by the Royal Australian Mint, marking 100 years since the unification of the Australian colonies into a single federated nation in 1901. This coin series didn't just celebrate the nation as a whole, it honored the individual identity of each state and territory. In total, 9 different designs were released, one for each of Australia's 6 states: New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia, South Australia, and Tasmania, and 2 territories, Australian Capital Territory and Northern Territory, along with a coin representing the Commonwealth of Australia. Each coin features a uniquely symbolic emblem selected through public competition, reflecting the rich diversity, culture, and history of the region it represents. The obverse of each coin carries the standard effigy of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley. The reverse designs, however, vary greatly, from Queensland's Brolga bird and lily to Western Australia's iconic black swan. These coins sparked national pride and quickly gained popularity, especially among younger collectors and those living in the regions featured. Although these coins were released into circulation and are still occasionally found in everyday change, high-grade uncirculated examples and complete sets have gained serious collector interest. Packaging sets issued by the Mint have also become increasingly collectible, particularly the official state emblem sets. While circulated examples are typically worth face value or slightly more, uncirculated or mint-packaged examples are significantly more valuable. Individual high-grade state coins in pristine condition can fetch $100 to $250 AUD each, while a complete uncirculated set can be valued at $6,500 to $7,500 AUD, especially if it includes the rare Northern Territory design or comes in original. Folder packaging. Number 39. 1910 Edward VII Sixpence. The 1910 sixpence represents an essential moment in Australian numismatics. It is part of the first ever national coinage issued under the Australian Commonwealth. Prior to this, coins circulating in Australia were primarily British or colonial issues. With the 1910 release, Australia began striking its own silver coinage, starting with the florin, shilling, sixpence, and threepence denominations. This sixpence bears the portrait of King Edward VII, who sadly passed away shortly after its minting. His effigy by George William de Saulles shows the king in regal dress facing right. On the reverse, the coin displays the traditional Australian coat of arms with the kangaroo and emu, symbols of a nation, beginning to establish its own identity, even while still under the crown. Struck in 92.5% sterling silver, the 1910 sixpence is not just a numismatic relic, it's also a precious metal artifact. Its historical importance, combined with its silver content, makes it a dual collectible for both historians and bullion investors. Although the mintage was relatively healthy at just under 4 million coins, surviving high-grade examples are few and far between, especially given the coin's age and the natural wear from more than a century in circulation. Today, circulated examples can command between $20 and $80 AUD, depending on condition. Very fine to extremely fine coins often sell for $150 to $300 AUD, while uncirculated examples, particularly those with strong strikes and full details, can reach $6,000 to $7,200 AUD. Proof-like or specimen strikes are exceptionally rare and may exceed $12,000 AUD in top-tier auctions. Number 38. 1911 George V florin. The 1911 George V florin is a coin of historical firsts. It was not only the inaugural Australian florin issued under King George V, but also part of the early series of sterling silver coins introduced after Federation. This coin marks the beginning of a new reign and a new era of Australian identity under the guidance of a young monarch. Struck in 92.5% sterling silver, the florin features a classic design with the crowned effigy of George V on the obverse and the detailed Australian coat of arms on the reverse. The arms include a shield representing the 6 federated states, held up by a kangaroo and emu, under a 7-pointed star. Around this are the inscriptions, 1 florin, 2 shillings, and 1911, clearly denoting both denomination and date. Although the design would later be modified, this original 1911 issue has a charm and regal presentation that collectors deeply appreciate. It was minted in London, before the establishment of local Australian mints capable of producing florins in high volume. With a mintage of approximately 1.4 million, this coin is relatively scarce, especially in higher grades. Many examples were heavily circulated, and uncirculated specimens are genuinely rare and in constant demand. The value of a 1911 florin depends heavily on its grade. Circulated examples may sell for $50 to $150 AUD, while higher grade coins in extremely fine condition can reach $350 to $600 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially with lustrous silver surfaces and clean fields, can command $1,000 to $11,000 AUD, with certified or proof-like specimens fetching even higher figures at major auctions. Number 37. 1933 shilling. The 1933 Australian shilling is a coin minted during the turbulent years of the Great Depression, a time when economic hardship, limited spending, and reduced mint output combined to create scarcity in coinage. Issued during the reign of King George V, this shilling reflects both the resilience and changing priorities of a nation under financial strain. Struck in 92.5% sterling silver, the coin features the crowned head of George V on the obverse. The reverse displays a proud merino ram's head, a design first introduced in 1938, but in 1933, the reverse still bore the older style, the Australian coat of arms. It includes the national shield, kangaroo, and emu, a layout similar to earlier coins such as the florin and sixpence. With a relatively modest mintage of around 1.2 million coins, the 1933 shilling is not extremely rare in raw numbers, but high-quality examples have become increasingly difficult to source. Many were circulated heavily, and few were put aside in mint condition, especially during years when people had little disposable income. Today, the 1933 shilling is prized by collectors for its historical context and scarcity in higher grades. In average circulated condition, it can sell for $40 to $120 AUD. Higher grade examples, especially in extremely fine to about uncirculated condition, may command $250 to $500 AUD. Premium uncirculated specimens, especially those with sharp strike and original mint luster, can reach $8,000 to $200 AUD, particularly if graded by a reputable third-party service. Number 36, 9th halfpenny. The 1914 H halfpenny is a distinctive coin for two major reasons: its early date and the presence of the small H mint mark beneath the scroll on the reverse. The H indicates that the coin was struck at the Heaton Mint in Birmingham, England, one of several mints contracted by Australia to produce coinage in the early 20th century. Issued during the reign of King George V and the first year of World War I, the 1914 H halfpenny holds deep historical relevance. It reflects a time when Australia was still relying on British mints for production while beginning to shape its own national identity. The obverse carries the crowned bust of George V, while the reverse shows the classic 1 halfpenny inscription within a circular border and decorative dots. The H mint mark gives this coin a unique edge in collectability. While not the rarest of the halfpenny series, the 1914 H has become increasingly hard to find in high grades. Many coins saw extensive circulation, and very few pristine examples have survived more than a century of wear and handling. In lower circulated grades, the coin may sell for $20 to $60 AUD, depending on detail, visibility, and condition. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition can reach $150 to $300 AUD, while well-preserved, uncirculated examples with attractive surfaces can command $6,500 to $7,500 AUD or more, especially when certified. Number 35, 1939 Kangaroo Reverse Sixpence. The 1939 Kangaroo Reverse Sixpence is a stunning anomaly in Australian coinage, an unintended design change that led to one of the most fascinating and collectible sixpence issues in the nation's history. Until 1938, the reverse of Australian sixpence coins consistently featured the Commonwealth coat of arms. But in 1939, an unusual change was introduced. A leaping kangaroo replaced the coat of arms in what would become known as the kangaroo reverse. This design was not widely publicized, and its inclusion was brief. Limited to just part of the year before the mint reverted to the original design, the result was a limited run of coins featuring this curious and energetic kangaroo. It was never officially explained why this reverse design appeared, but many historians believe it may have been an experimental transition toward modernized imagery or a temporary artistic deviation at the Melbourne Mint. Struck in sterling silver, 92.5% purity, this sixpence features the portrait of King George VI on the obverse and the dynamic kangaroo on the reverse. The kangaroo is surrounded by the denomination and the word Australia, all in crisp lettering. The movement and positioning of the kangaroo gives it a sense of vitality and distinctly national identity, which makes this coin even more appealing for collectors. Due to its short production span and design uniqueness, the 1939 Kangaroo Reverse Sixpence has become a favorite among both type collectors and variety hunters. Circulated specimens are often heavily worn but still in demand. In fine to very fine condition, these coins are worth $80 to $150 AUD, while extremely fine. Examples fetch $300 to $500 AUD. Uncirculated or mint state specimens, especially those with strong strikes and original luster, can sell for $4,000 to $8,000 AUD, with exceptionally high-grade examples sometimes exceeding that range at auction. Number 34, 1926 halfpenny. The 1926 half-penny is a crucial mid-1920s issue in the Australian Prodecimal series and a standout date, due to its surprisingly low survival rate in high-grade condition. Issued during the reign of King George V, this coin was minted at a time when Australia's economy was stable, but coin hoarding and careful preservation were not widespread practices. As such, most surviving examples of the 1926 halfpenny are found in well-worn condition. With a mintage of just over 3.2 million, the 1926 halfpenny is not the lowest in numbers, but it remains a key date due to how few were saved in collectible condition. Its design follows the standard layout for the era, with the crowned bust of George V on the obverse and the 1 halfpenny inscription within a circle on the reverse. There is no mint mark on this issue, but it is believed to have been struck at the Melbourne Mint. Collectors appreciate the 1926 halfpenny for its balance of accessibility and challenge. While not quite as elusive as the 1923 or 1915H issues, it presents enough rarity to give satisfaction when discovered in better grades. The appeal is further enhanced when the coin has rich, chocolate brown toning and minimal surface marks. In circulated condition, this coin typically sells for $40 to $120 AUD, depending on where. Coins in very fine to extremely fine grade can bring in $200 to $500 AUD, and uncirculated examples, especially those with original mint red or luster, can range between $8,000 and $9,000 AUD or more. For serious collectors attempting to complete a set of early Australian halfpennies, the 1926 issue is a must-have. Number 33, 1923 threepence. The 1923 threepence is one of the most sought-after coins in the Australian silver pre-decimal series, and for good reason. With an estimated mintage of only approximately 2,000 coins, this coin is ultra-rare, and one of the lowest mintage circulation coins in Australia's history. It is widely considered a crown jewel of the threepence series. Struck under King George V, the obverse features his crowned portrait, while the reverse shows the Commonwealth coat of arms, two supporters, the kangaroo and emu, holding a shield, with the denomination and year below. What makes this coin so special is not just its scarcity, but its mysterious origin. There was no official record of its mintage at the time, leading many collectors to believe it may not exist until a handful of genuine examples were confirmed decades later. This coin is nearly impossible to find in circulation and is rarely offered for sale. When it does appear, it's usually in well-worn condition, due to its passage through commerce before it was recognized for its rarity. Even coins with heavy wear can sell for thousands. A heavily circulated 1923 threepence can command $2,000 to $5,000 AUD, while a fine to very fine example may reach $7,000 to $12,000. An extremely fine or better coin, if ever found, could fetch $2,000 to $3,000 AUD or more, depending on provenance and market demand. For collectors of Australian silver rarities, the 1923 threepence is an elusive holy grail. Number 32, 1924 penny. The 1924 penny is an important piece of Australia's pre-decimal coinage and sits high on the list of semi-key dates in the Commonwealth penny series. Minted during the reign of King George V, this penny was produced at a time of economic flux and changing minting capacities. It's especially notable for collectors due to its relatively low survival rate in high-grade condition. With a mintage of 260,000, the 1924 penny was struck at the Melbourne Mint. While not extraordinarily rare in circulated condition, high-grade examples have become increasingly scarce due to the passage of time, environmental damage, and natural attrition. Most coins from this era were used heavily in daily commerce, and few were preserved in mint state. The design follows the traditional penny format for the period, George V on the obverse, and the reverse showing the words "one penny" inside a beaded circle, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia and the year. It's a simple but powerful design that has become synonymous with early 20th century Australian currency. In worn or average circulated grades, the 1924 penny is valued between $30 to $100 AUD, but coins in extremely fine condition can fetch $200 to $500 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those with full detail, glossy brown toning, and no corrosion, can reach $8,000 to $11,000 AUD, with exceptional coins bringing even more in major auctions or graded by top-tier certification services. Number 31, 1948 penny. The 1948 penny is a post-war issue that holds its own place in Australian numismatic history, although it's not considered rare in terms of mintage. With more than 29 million struck, it remains collectible for its historical significance, transitional design features, and excellent availability in high-grade condition. This was one of the first coins produced after World War II, marking a period of renewal and economic expansion. It features the familiar leaping kangaroo design on the reverse, a hallmark of Australian identity, introduced just 2 years earlier in 1938. The obverse displays the crowned portrait of King George VI, who was still reigning during this time. Despite its high mintage, the 1948 penny is of special interest to collectors aiming to complete year sets or those who appreciate the finer details of early post-war issues. Because many examples were well struck and retained, it's one of the easier coins to find in brilliant uncirculated condition, making it popular among beginner collectors and serious numismatists alike. In circulated condition, the 1948 penny is typically worth $3 to $10 AUD, coins in extremely fine or about. Uncirculated condition can fetch 25 to 60 AUD, while uncirculated examples, particularly those with rich, chocolate brown or mint red tones, can range from $800 to $1,500 AUD. Highly graded or certified pieces with superior eye appeal may even push a 12,000 to 13,000 AUD, particularly if they exhibit proof-like luster or come from well-preserved collections. Number 30. 1915 penny. The 1915 penny is a standout issue in Australia's early Commonwealth coinage, not simply because of its age, but because it falls within one of the most tumultuous periods in world history. World War I. As the war raged across Europe, Australia's mints continued to produce coinage under the constraints of reduced labor, limited resources, and shifting priorities. These conditions impacted the quality, consistency, and availability of coin production, making the 1915 penny a significant collectible from both a numismatic and historical standpoint. Struck under the reign of King George III, the obverse features his crowned effigy facing left. The reverse design follows the classic style seen in early Australian pennies, 1 penny, boldly displayed within a circular beaded border, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia and the date at the bottom. This coin had a moderate mintage of approximately 3.6 million, but despite that, higher grade examples are elusive. Many of these coins were heavily circulated during and after the war, serving in daily commerce at a time when people had more pressing concerns than preserving pristine currency. As a result, most surviving examples are well worn or damaged by environmental exposure. Collectors seek this coin for its historical significance as much as for its place in completing a full early penny set. Circulated examples in good to fine condition generally sell for $30 to $80 AUD. Coins in very fine to extremely fine condition command $150 to $350 AUD, while uncirculated specimens, especially those with smooth surfaces, even toning, and sharp detail, can reach $6,000 to $12,000 AUD or more, depending on eye appeal and certification. Number 29. 1955 penny. The 1955 Australian penny marks a turning point in the transition between the post-war period and the early years of Queen Elizabeth I's reign. Struck at the Perth Mint, this coin is a relatively modern pre-decimal issue, yet it remains an important entry in the series due to its production, context, and collector appeal. The obverse features the laureate portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick, a youthful and uncrowned depiction of the newly crowned monarch, which offers a notable contrast to later portraits used on Australian coins. The reverse maintains the familiar leaping kangaroo design, along with the denomination 1 penny, the date, and a dot mint mark below the scroll indicating it was struck in Perth. The mintage of the 1955 penny was relatively modest at approximately 21 million, but due to the wear and tear of circulation, as well as natural corrosion and aging of base metal over decades, high-grade examples are becoming harder to find. Many circulated coins show dull surfaces or edge nicks, making uncirculated specimens far more valuable to collectors. In lower grades, the 1955 penny is relatively common and sells for $2 to $10 AUD. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition can reach 20 to 40 OD, and uncirculated examples with vibrant, mint red or chocolate brown tones can sell for $100 to $250 AUD. Brilliant examples, graded by third-party services such as PCGS or NGC, particularly those in MS65 or higher, may exceed $3,000 to $5,000 AUD, depending on demand and eye appeal. Number 28. 1953 penny. The 1953 penny is particularly significant as it was the first Australian penny issued under Queen Elizabeth, following the death of her father, King George VI. It represents a moment of both mourning and renewal for the monarchy, and is a must-have coin for collectors of Elizabethan era. Australian currency. Designed by Mary Gillick, the obverse features a youthful and uncrowned image of Queen Elizabeth II, one of the most iconic and elegant royal portraits ever used on coinage. The reverse continues the long-standing kangaroo design, introduced in 1938, accompanied by the denomination, the date, and the Perth Mint's dot mint mark below the scroll. The 1953 penny had a mintage of over 59 million, making it one of the most heavily circulated issues of the 1950s. While it is easy to find in lower grades, truly uncirculated examples with strong strikes and rich, glossy surfaces have grown in collector demand. This is especially true for coins that showcase the original reddish mint luster, or those with superior patina. Circulated examples typically range from $1 to $5 AUD, depending on condition. In extremely fine condition, prices can climb to $59 to $30 AUD. Mint state coins, especially those with full brilliance and minimal blemishes, can fetch $500 to $1,200 AUD. Premium, third-party graded examples with strong luster may go for $4,500 to $5,300 AUD, particularly if they fall into MS64 or MS65 territory. Number 27. The 1912 florin is one of the most iconic early Australian silver coins and is valued highly for its sterling silver content 92.5% and its place within the first decade of national coinage after Federation. Minted during the reign of King George III, this large silver coin carries both historical and numismatic importance. The obverse displays the crowned and robed effigy of George V, while the reverse features the intricate 1908 Commonwealth coat of arms. This version of the arms differs from later issues and includes a more ornate design, making it especially appealing to collectors of artistic coinage. The reverse also features the denomination 1 florin, 2 shillings, and the date 1912. This coin was struck in London at a time when Australia had not yet developed the full infrastructure to independently produce all of its silver currency. While its mintage exceeded 2.5 million, many of these coins were circulated heavily, and high-grade specimens have become increasingly difficult to acquire due to over a century of wear, cleaning, and silver melting. Well-worn examples in fine to very fine condition typically sell for $40 to $100 AUD, while better preserved pieces in extremely fine grade can command $1,500 to $3,000 AUD. Uncirculated examples, particularly those with sharp detail, minimal bag marks, and original luster, can reach $9,000 to $10,000 AUD or more, especially when authenticated by reputable grading services. Number 26. 1916 penny. The 1916 penny holds a special place in Australian coinage for being one of the few coins struck at the Calcutta Mint in India, denoted by the I mint mark below the scroll on the reverse. During World War I, Australia relied on international facilities to help mint its coinage due to wartime demands, and 1916 was one of the most prominent examples of this overseas collaboration. The obverse of the coin features King George V's crowned effigy, and the reverse bears the traditional 1 penny within a beaded inner circle, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia, and the date 1916. The I mint mark beneath the reverse scroll distinguishes it from the Australian minted penny, which is relatively more common. The Calcutta minting was a response to logistical difficulties during WWI, including resource shortages and limited production capacity within Australia. Approximately 5.8 million of these coins were struck in India, and although that's a sizable mintage, the exotic mint origin and historical context make the coin particularly desirable. In circulated condition, a 1916 penny can fetch $30 to $80 AUD, while coins in extremely fine condition are typically valued at $150 to $300 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those that retain full definition and smooth, glossy fields, can command $5,600 to $6,200 AUD or more. Examples that are fully read or professionally graded may achieve even higher prices at auction, especially if tied to well-known collections. Number 25. 1913 halfpenny. The 1913 halfpenny holds a special place in Australian numismatic history as it represents the very first year that Australia issued this denomination under the banner of the newly formed Commonwealth. Prior to this date, Australia used British and colonial coins in daily commerce, so when this coin was released, it marked a defining moment, a symbolic break from the past and a step into national identity. Struck at the Heaton Mint in Birmingham, the coin carries the H mint mark just beneath the scroll on the reverse. The obverse features the crowned effigy of King George V, while the reverse continues the early pre-decimal tradition with the denomination 1 halfpenny framed inside a beaded inner circle surrounded by the words Commonwealth of Australia and the date. Collectors prize this coin not only for its historical significance, but also for its design purity. As the first of its kind, it set the stylistic tone for decades of half-penny issues. What adds further interest is the fact that the dies used for the 1913 half-penny were produced with relatively high relief, and early examples show excellent detail if preserved well. With a mintage of approximately 5.7 million, the 1913 half-penny isn't extremely rare in raw numbers, but high-grade examples are scarce. Most were heavily circulated or damaged, and few collectors at the time set aside pristine pieces. In circulated condition, this coin is valued around $30 to $100, well-preserved examples in extremely fine grade may bring $200 to $400 AUD, while uncirculated specimens, especially those with natural toning and full detail, can fetch $8,000 to $13,000 AUD or more. Third-party graded coins in high mint state. Grades can achieve even higher premiums due to their historical and foundational importance. Number 24, 1911 penny. The 1911 penny is another cornerstone of Australian coinage, being the first year of issue for the Commonwealth penny. It was also the first year of Australian pennies to feature King George V, who ascended the throne in 1910, following the death of Edward VII. As such, this coin holds dual significance, as a numismatic debut and a representation of a newly crowned monarch. The obverse displays the crown bust of George V, while the reverse maintains the classic predecimal penny. Design, 1 penny, framed within a central beaded circle, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia, and the year 1911. The design is straightforward yet powerful, with strong symmetry and clean lines that would define the penny series for years to come. Struck at the London Mint, the 1911 penny saw a substantial mintage of over 3.4 million coins. However, due to its age and heavy circulation over the past century, finding high-grade examples has become increasingly challenging. Many surviving coins show significant wear, environmental damage, or edge knocks. Collectors value this coin for its first-of-its-kind status, which makes it a compulsory addition for anyone assembling a full set of Australian pennies. In circulated grades, it typically sells for $25 to $80 AUD. Coins in extremely fine condition range from $150 to $300 AUD, while uncirculated examples, particularly those with full chocolate brown or mint red luster, can command $5,000 to $12,000 AUD. Graded pieces in MS63 or higher can exceed 15,000 AUD, depending on their eye appeal and market demand. Number 23. Would it go to Canberra florin? The 1927 Canberra florin is arguably one of the most iconic commemorative coins ever released by Australia. Issued to celebrate the official opening of Parliament House in Canberra, this florin was Australia's first circulating commemorative coin and has remained a beloved piece of national history for nearly a century. Unlike traditional florins of the time that featured the coat of arms, the 1927 florin breaks the mold with an artistic depiction of Parliament House, flanked by robed figures and framed in intricate detail. The obverse retains the crowned effigy of King George V, making it the perfect blend of tradition and commemorative innovation. Minted in sterling silver, 92.5% purity, the 1927 Canberra florin had a mintage of 2 million, but most of them entered circulation and were used in commerce, leading to a large number of worn or damaged examples. What collectors seek today are those coins that were preserved in pristine condition, especially those still housed in their original black presentation cases, often given to VIP guests at the opening ceremony. Because it marked such a monumental event in Australian political history, this coin is considered an essential addition to any advanced collection of Australian currency. In circulated condition, values range from $30 to $80 AUD, while coins in extremely fine are about uncirculated condition typically command $150 to $350 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those with original mint luster and eye appeal, can fetch $5,000 to $1,000 AUD. Specimens in original packaging or high third-party grades may exceed $12,000 AUD at premium auctions. Number 22. 1950 penny. The 1950 penny might appear as just another post-war kangaroo penny at first glance, but it holds its own charm and collector value thanks to its lower-than-average mintage, relative scarcity in mint state, and appeal to type collectors of King George VI coinage. The obverse features the crown portrait of King George VI, while the reverse boasts the iconic leaping kangaroo design, which had become a symbol of Australia's identity on coinage since 1938, the Y. Mint mark under the scroll identifies it as a Perth mint strike, differentiating it from Melbourne issues of earlier years. With a mintage of around 5.6 million, the 1950 penny is not especially rare in circulated grades, but examples in uncirculated or choice uncirculated condition are becoming increasingly hard to find. Post-war coinage was often subjected to high-speed minting and less refined quality control, making perfectly struck examples with minimal blemishes quite uncommon. Circulated examples are generally worth $5 to $15 AUD, while extremely fine to about. Uncirculated coins sell for $30 to $80 AUD. Truly uncirculated specimens, particularly those that retain their full red or glossy brown surfaces, can fetch $1,000 to $2,500 AUD. Premium specimens graded MS64 or higher by PCGS or NGC may push above $3,000 AUD, depending on demand and visual quality. Number 21, 1933 penny. The 1933 penny is one of the key semi-rares in the Australian penny series and highly respected by collectors for its relatively low mintage, historical significance, and increased scarcity in higher grades. It was struck during the midst of the Great Depression, a time when economic turmoil affected every facet of Australian life, including the minting of coins. The obverse features the crowned bust of King George V, while the reverse continues with the classic one penny design within a beaded circle, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia and the date. While it may not differ visually from earlier issues, its collector value lies in the scarcity of high-grade survivors. With a mintage of just 5.1 million, this coin is not exceedingly rare in sheer numbers, but because so many were worn down in circulation, problem-free, high-quality specimens are difficult to come by. Additionally, this year forms part of a trio of key dates, along with 1925 and the ultra-rare 1930, that serious collectors aim to secure. Circulated 1933 pennies typically range in value from $40 to $120 AUD, while coins in extremely fine grade may command $250 to $500 AUD. Mint state examples, especially those showing strong, even detail and attractive brown toning, can fetch $8,000 to $9,000 AUD or more. Exceptionally well-preserved pieces with high third-party grades can exceed $2,500 AUD, especially when they exhibit full original luster. Number 20, 1957 penny. The 1957 penny, issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, stands as a significant piece in the post-war era of Australian coinage. With a strong mintage and a continued tradition of kangaroo design, it represents both stability and continuity in the evolution of Australia's currency. Struck at the Perth Mint, the coin features a portrait of the young Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Mary Gillick. The reverse shows the leaping kangaroo, a design that had become synonymous with Australian identity by the 1930s. With a mintage of 39.7 million, the 1957 penny is relatively common in lower grades, but continues to be valued by collectors for its clean, simple design and its role in Australia's post-colonial era. While circulated examples are abundant, high-quality examples, particularly those with full mint luster, are more difficult to find. The coin's value is primarily influenced by its condition, and the demand for coins from the Elizabethan series. Circulated examples can typically be found for $2 to $8 AUD, while coins in very fine or extremely fine condition range from $59 to $50 AUD. Coins in uncirculated condition with rich mint red toning or glossy brown surfaces are valued between $80 and $150 AUD, with particularly well-preserved examples pushing $2,000 AUD. Premium, third-party graded coins in MS65 or higher can exceed $3,000 AUD, especially when they display exceptional visual appeal and originality. Number 19, 1956 penny. The 1956 penny is another crucial coin in the series of early Elizabethan pennies. Released just a year before the minting of the 1957 penny, the 1956 issue continues the tradition of kangaroo, reverse design with a slight variation in detail compared to earlier years. Struck at the Perth Mint, the coin features the young, uncrowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. The reverse shows the familiar kangaroo, a symbol of Australia's wildlife and national spirit. The 1956 penny was struck in considerable numbers, with a mintage of 28.7 million. This makes it an accessible coin for collectors, particularly for those focused on assembling a complete set of mid-20th century pennies. However, as with other coins of this era, high-grade specimens are harder to come by due to natural wear and tarnishing over decades of circulation. In circulated condition, the 1956 penny is typically valued around $1 to $5 AUD, making it a relatively inexpensive entry for beginner collectors. In very fine to extremely fine condition, it can be valued between $20 to $50 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those with a full red or glossy brown finish, generally sell for $800 to $2,500 AUD. Graded coins in MS64 or MS65 can exceed $3,500 AUD, particularly if they display remarkable luster and minimal surface distractions. Number 18, 1938 penny. The 1938 penny is one of the most celebrated and sought-after coins in the Australian per-decimal series due to its design, historical significance, and overall scarcity in higher grades. Struck during the reign of King George VI. This coin was the first Australian penny to feature the leaping kangaroo reverse, a design that would continue in the penny series until the coin's eventual withdrawal in the early 1960s. The obverse shows the traditional crowned bust of George V, while the reverse, featuring the kangaroo in full motion, brought a fresh and bold aesthetic to Australian currency. This kangaroo design, by artist William MacArthur, was chosen to represent Australia's national spirit and independence, and it immediately became iconic. Despite a relatively high mintage of 12.6 million coins, the 1938 penny is regarded as a semi-key date, due to its rarity and higher grades. The coin is more frequently found in circulated condition, as it was used extensively in commerce for decades. As a result, higher quality examples, especially those exhibiting full detail, original mint luster and minimal wear, are in high demand among serious collectors. In circulated condition, the 1938 penny is valued at approximately $5 to $20 AUD. Coins vary, fine or extremely fine. Condition can range from $50 to $150 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those in red brown or chocolate brown with full detail, can command anywhere between $300 and $600 AUD. Coins graded by services like PCGS or NGC and MS65 or higher can fetch $54,000 to $65,000 AUD or more, depending on their visual quality. Number 17, 1960 penny. The 1960 penny is one of the final issues of the Australian pre-decimal penny series, representing the transition from King George VI's reign to the era of Queen Elizabeth II. Despite being produced during the relatively modern period of the 1950s, this coin retains the traditional design elements used throughout the previous decades, including the kangaroo reverse, which continued to symbolize Australian nationalism. The obverse features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Mary Gillick, while the reverse shows the now iconic kangaroo, which had been in use since 1938. The 1960 penny was minted in over 36 million pieces, making it one of the more common coins in the Australian penny series. However, as with most coins of this age, its value is greatly influenced by its condition, with high-grade examples being increasingly rare to find. In circulated condition, the 1960 penny is widely available, and its value generally ranges from $1 to $3 AUD. For coins in very fine to extremely fine condition, the value rises to $10 to $30 AUD. Uncirculated examples, particularly those with rich, full mint luster and attractive toning, can be worth $400 to $800 AUD. Exceptional, third-party graded specimens with minimal wear and pristine details can command $7,000 to $8,200 AUD. Number 16, 1962 penny. The 1962 penny represents one of the last issues of the Australian pre-decimal penny series and holds a special place for collectors as a key date in the transition towards decimal currency. Struck in large numbers, this coin was minted under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and features the uncrowned portrait of the Queen on the obverse, designed by Mary Gillick. The reverse continues to feature the kangaroo design, symbolizing Australia's connection to its unique wildlife. The mintage of the 1962 penny was substantial at 56.3 million, making it one of the most commonly circulated pennies of the era. As a result, the 1962 penny is easily found in lower grades, but its value begins to rise significantly for well-preserved examples that show minimal signs of circulation. In circulated condition, the 1962 penny is worth $1 to $5 AUD. For coins in very fine or extremely fine condition, Values rise to $10 to $30 AUD. Uncirculated specimens, particularly those with full detail and original mint luster, are valued at $500 to $1,000 AUD. Coins that achieve MS64 or MS65 grades from reputable third-party services can command $7,500 to $8,500 AUD, depending on visual appeal and market conditions. Number 15, 59 penny. The 1959 penny is one of the most recognizable coins from the late pre-decimal period in Australia, issued under Queen Elizabeth II. This coin was part of the tail end of the long-running penny series before the nation transitioned to decimal currency in 1966. While millions were struck, it holds significance for its elegant design, broad use in commerce, and as one of the final years of an era that would soon close permanently. The obverse features the familiar youthful, uncrowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Mary Gillick, while the reverse presents the iconic leaping kangaroo with the denomination 1 penny and the date beneath. A small dot under the scroll indicates the Perth Mint, which produced all pennies in this year. The 1959 penny was produced in large numbers. Over 25 million were minted. As a result, circulated examples are common. However, the appeal of this coin lies in the quality of surviving mint state specimens. High-grade examples with full mint red luster, no spotting, and clean surfaces are highly collectible. Many 1959 pennies were poorly stored, resulting in toning, corrosion, or wear even when uncirculated. In circulated grades, the 1959 penny is typically worth $10 to $50 AUD. In extremely fine condition, prices can rise to $100 to $250 AUD. Uncirculated coins, particularly those that retain mint red coloration, are valued between $400 and $1,000 AUD. Coins graded MS64 or higher can command $5,500 to $6,200 AUD, especially if they display pristine surfaces and minimal handling marks. Number 14, 1942 penny. The 1942 penny is a fascinating wartime issue, struck during the height of World War II. Due to the war's impact on Australia's economy and infrastructure, the government relied heavily on international assistance to produce its coinage. As a result, 1942 pennies were minted at multiple facilities: Melbourne, Perth, and notably in India, the latter indicated by an I mint mark under the scroll. The obverse features King George VI wearing the imperial state crown, while the reverse carries the now standard kangaroo design introduced in 1938. The 1942 issue is significant for collectors because it was produced in 3 different varieties. No mint mark, Melbourne. Dot after Y and penny, Perth. I mint mark, Calcutta, India. Each variety has different scarcity levels. The Melbourne and Perth strikes are fairly common, while the 1942 I penny from India is less common, particularly in high grades, and of greater interest to collectors. Circulated examples from any of the 3 varieties generally range from $30 to $150 AUD, depending on grade. Coins in extremely fine condition typically bring $200 to $400 AUD, while uncirculated coins, especially those from the Indian Mint, or in red-brown toning, are valued between $600 and $1,500 AUD. Coins graded MS65 or better may exceed $8,500 AUD, particularly if certified and well struck. Number 13, 1918 I mint mark sixpence. The 1918 I mint mark sixpence is a cherished silver coin from World War I, struck not in Australia but in India, at the Calcutta Mint. The I mint mark beneath the date on the reverse distinguishes it from Australian minted issues and reflects the global cooperation that helped Australia maintain its coinage supply during the war. The obverse bears the portrait of King George V, designed by Bertram McKennell, while the reverse shows the traditional Australian coat of arms, featuring the kangaroo and emu flanking a shield. Made of 92.5% sterling silver, this coin not only carries historic weight, but also intrinsic bullion value. With a mintage of just 1.2 million, the 1918 I sixpence is a low mintage issue, and even circulated examples are sought after. High-grade pieces are scarce due to extensive wartime usage and the rough conditions of transportation between mints and colonies. The I mint mark adds rarity and international intrigue, making it one of the standout coins in the sixpence series. Circulated coins are typically worth $40 to $100 AUD, while very fine to extremely fine. Examples range between $150 to $300 AUD. Uncirculated specimens, especially those with radiant silver luster and sharp strikes, can command $600 to $1,200 AUD. Coins in top certified grades can exceed $9,500 AUD, especially those with deep original toning or from pedigreed collections. Number 12, 1922-21 3-pence overdate. The 1922-21 overdate. 3-pence is one of Australia's most captivating coin anomalies. This rare variety occurred when a die originally dated 1921 was re-engraved with 1922, leaving traces of the original, one visible under the final. 2. These types of overdates are particularly exciting for numismatists because they reflect human craftsmanship and practical necessity. In mint operations of the early 20th century, the coin features King George V on the obverse and the Commonwealth coat of arms on the reverse. Minted at a time when equipment and materials were in limited supply, especially in the post-WWI economic climate, reusing old dies was a practical, if imperfect, solution. This coin's rarity lies in the distinctive overdate, which is visible under magnification. Not all 1922 3-pence coins have the overdate feature, which makes spotting one an exhilarating moment for a collector. It's estimated that only a small portion of the total 1922 mintage includes this variety, and few survive in collectible condition today. A verified 1922-21 overdate 3-pence in fine to vary. Fine condition typically sells for $1,000 to $2,000 AUD. Higher grade coins in extremely fine or better may command $3,000 to $6,000 AUD. Truly uncirculated examples are exceedingly rare and can achieve $1,000 to $15,000 AUD or more, depending on the sharpness of the overdate and certification status. Number 11, 1915 H halfpenny. The 1915 H halfpenny is an important and highly collectible Australian coin from the World War I era. The H mint mark denotes that it was minted at the Heaton Mint in Birmingham, England, as Australia's minting facilities couldn't keep up with wartime demands. The coin's scarcity, historical backdrop, and foreign mint origin make it one of the key dates in the Australian halfpenny series. The obverse features King George V, while the reverse follows the early pre-decimal tradition with the denomination 1 halfpenny in the center, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia, and the date 1915. The tiny H under the scroll distinguishes it from its rarer cousin, the 1915 no H halfpenny, which is much harder to find. Despite its status as a key date, the 1915 H has a respectable mintage of around 2.5 million, but few coins were preserved in high-grade condition. Most were circulated heavily, and due to the soft bronze alloy, they wore down quickly or became corroded. In circulated grades, the 1915 H halfpenny is typically valued at $40 to $100 AUD, very fine to extremely fine. Examples fetch between $150 and the dollars AUD. In uncirculated condition, especially those with glossy brown or red toning and minimal handling, the value climbs to $600 to $1,200 AUD. Certified coins in MS64 or higher may surpass $8,500 AUD, making it a coveted prize for serious halfpenny collectors. Number 10. 1934-35 Melbourne Centenary Florin. The 1934-35 Melbourne Centenary florin is one of Australia's most prestigious and coveted commemorative coins, a true numismatic masterpiece that transcends its face value by representing a major cultural milestone, issued to celebrate the centenary of the founding of Melbourne, 1834-1934. This florin was not only a limited release, but also a completely unique design, never repeated or reused on any other Australian coin. The obverse features the crowned bust of King George V, designed by Bertram McKennell, while the reverse showcases a striking depiction of a youth on horseback holding a laurel wreath, symbolizing progress and civic achievement. Surrounding this image are the words, Centenary Victoria Melbourne, 1934-1935. The design by artist George Kruger Gray is considered one of the most beautiful ever to appear on an Australian coin. With a mintage of just 75,000, the 1934-35 florin is exceptionally rare, especially in high grades. Many were mishandled or circulated despite being released as a commemorative. Finding one in pristine condition today is a major feat. Interestingly, the coin's original release price was 3 shillings, a premium over its 2 shilling face value, a bold marketing move that initially slowed sales. However, its rarity and stunning design soon made it a hot collector's item. In worn or lower circulated grades, this coin still commands impressive values, generally $800 to $2,500 AUD. Coins in extremely fine condition range between $2,500 and $4,000 AUD. Uncirculated examples are exceedingly rare and often trade for $7,000 to $12,000 AUD. Coins graded MS65 or higher, particularly those with superb toning and minimal handling marks, can exceed $15,000 to $2,000 AUD, especially if they retain original surfaces and come from a pedigreed collection. Number 9. The 1921 florin may look like an ordinary silver coin at first glance, but among collectors, it's one of the key dates in the florin series, notorious for being elusive in high grades and difficult to find with full details. This coin was minted during a transitional period between World War I and the Roaring 1920s, a time of economic recovery and increasing national pride. The obverse features the portrait of King George V, while the reverse displays the 1920s version of the Australian coat of arms, with the emu and kangaroo supporting the shield under the crown. Struck in 92.5% sterling silver, the 1921 florin has both historical and intrinsic value. Although its official mintage was a relatively healthy 1.4 million, many coins were heavily circulated. The dies used at the time were often worn or poorly maintained, resulting in weak strikes, especially in the shield and crown areas on the reverse. This makes high-quality, well-struck examples extremely desirable. In circulated grades, the 1921 florin usually sells for $80 to $250 AUD, depending on the level of wear. Extremely fine examples can range from $500 to $800 AUD. However, uncirculated coins, especially those that are sharply struck with full details and original luster, are rare and typically valued between $2,000 and $5. Shorn AUD, premium examples in MS64 or higher can fetch $7,000 to $10,000 AUD at major auctions. Number 8. 1856 Sydney Mint Sovereign. The 1856 Sydney Mint Sovereign is a truly historical piece, a gold coin from colonial Australia, struck at the first overseas branch of the Royal Mint, established in Sydney in 1855. This coin was part of the very first effort to create an official gold currency for the colony using the massive gold reserves discovered during Australia's gold rush era. The obverse features a portrait of Queen Victoria, with the distinctive Sydney Mint inscription on the reverse, unlike later sovereigns that bear Dei Gratia and Britanniarum Regina Fid Def. The 1856 issue, being only the second year of production, is among the most highly prized sovereigns for collectors and historians alike. It represents the assertion of economic independence and the earliest formation of what would become Australian national coinage. Struck in 22-karat gold, 91.67% purity, the Sydney Mint sovereigns were not only used as currency, but also melted down for their gold content, which makes surviving examples increasingly rare, especially in collectible condition. Circulated examples of the 1856 sovereign are typically valued at $3,000 to $6,000 AUD, depending on detail and wear. Extremely fine coins range from $8,000 to $12,000 AUD, while uncirculated specimens, particularly those with minimal marks and strong luster, can command $15,000 to $3,000 AUD. Certified examples graded MS62 or higher may exceed $35,000 AUD, particularly those from famous collections or with strong provenance. Number 7. 1813 Dump, 15 pence. The 1813 Dump is one of the most fascinating and symbolically powerful coins ever issued in Australia. It was created as part of the Holy Dollar and Dump project, an ingenious solution to a massive currency shortage in early New South Wales. Under the directive of Governor Lachlan Macquarie, Spanish silver dollars were imported, cut in the center, and stamped with a new denomination. The outer ring became the Holy Dollar, and the center plug became the Dump, valued at 15 pence. The Dump features a simple design. The words, New South Wales 1813, encircle a crown on the obverse, while the reverse displays the denomination 15 pence. Each piece was individually cut and counter-stamped by hand, making every dump unique, with minor variations in size, alignment, and thickness, only about 3,000 to 5,000. Dumps are believed to have been made, and far fewer survive today, especially in higher grades. As one of Australia's first official coins, the Dump carries tremendous historical weight. It's not only a collector's item, but a national treasure. Featured in museums and historical exhibits across the country. In lower grades, a genuine dump can sell for $15,000 to $3,000 AUD. Very fine specimens may fetch $4,000 to $8,000 AUD, and coins in extremely fine or better condition are valued at $100,000 to $15,000 AUD or more. Exceptional examples with strong provenance and certification have broken 2,000 AUD at major auctions. Number 6. 1813 Holy Dollar. The 1813 Holy Dollar is unquestionably Australia's most iconic and valuable historic coin, created alongside the dump as part of Governor Macquarie's plan to retain currency within the colony. Each Holy Dollar was made by taking a Spanish 8 reales coin, punching out the center, and stamping it with the denomination 5 shillings along with New South Wales 1813 and a crown. Each Holy Dollar is a work of colonial ingenuity. It was the first coin specifically created for use in Australia and remains a profound symbol of the country's early struggle for economic independence. Because the host coins, Spanish dollars, varied by year and mint, no two Holy Dollars are alike, making them endlessly fascinating to numismatists and historians. Approximately 40,000 Holy Dollars were originally minted, but fewer than 350 are known to survive today. Some are in museum collections or held by institutions, meaning the number available to private collectors is vanishingly small. The condition and the origin of the host coin, e.g., 1780 Mexico mint, greatly influence value. In heavily worn or hold condition, a Holy Dollar still commands $7,000 to $12,000 AUD. More complete examples with strong overstrikes and minimal host coinware can sell for $2,000 to $4,000 AUD. High-grade Holy Dollars, particularly those with full details and certified provenance, have sold for $500,000 to over $8,000 AUD. The finest known examples may break $1 million AUD, placing them among the most valuable coins in Australian and even global numismatics. Number 5. 1852 Adelaide Pound Type 2. The 1852 Adelaide Pound Type 2 is one of the most historically significant and desirable Australian gold coins ever struck. It was the first gold coin officially minted in Australia, produced at the Adelaide Assay office during the early days of the South Australian gold rush. The coin was an emergency issue designed to address the shortage of circulating currency and to give miners a way to convert their gold dust into standardized, usable coinage. There are 2 primary varieties of the 1852 Adelaide Pound Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 2, with a modified, more structurally sound reverse design, was produced after problems were discovered with the Type 1 die, which frequently cracked during striking. The Type 2 design features a more robust border of beading and stronger engraving to avoid the die break, issues that plagued the earlier version. The obverse reads, Government Assay Office Adelaide, around a beaded inner circle containing the word 1 pound. The reverse features a crown design and the date 1852 with an elegant surrounding inscription. This coin is struck in 22-karat gold, and although the issue was officially sanctioned, it was not produced at a royal mint, but rather under local government authority, making it both an official and pioneering colonial issue. With a surviving population estimated at around 200-300 specimens, the 1852 Type 2 Adelaide Pound is extremely rare, especially in high grade. Many examples were heavily circulated or melted down, and very few survive in pristine condition today. In average circulated condition, the Adelaide Pound Type 2 commands $18,000 to $3,000 AUD. Coins in extremely fine condition sell for $4,000 to $7,000 AUD, and uncirculated specimens can bring $20,000 to $15,000 AUD or more. Well struck, certified examples in choice, mint state, MS62 or higher, have reached $2,000 AUD, particularly when backed by provenance or pedigree from renowned collections. Number 4. 1920 Sydney Sovereign. The 1920 Sydney Sovereign is one of the rarest and most legendary Australian gold sovereigns ever struck, so rare, in fact, that for decades it was considered a myth or rumored fantasy piece. Today, only a handful of examples are known to exist, and their value is virtually unmatched in Australian numismatics outside the iconic Holy Dollar and 1930 penny, struck at the Sydney Mint. The 1920 Sovereign marked the end of sovereign production in Australia, with Sydney's operations shutting down the same year. The rarity of this coin is owed to the extremely small mintage. Possibly fewer than 10 pieces survive. The coin features the familiar St. George slaying the dragon reverse, designed by Benedetto Pistrucci, with the small S mint mark above the date denoting Sydney mint origin. What makes the 1920 Sydney sovereign so exceptional is the complete mystery surrounding its issue. No official mintage records exist for a business strike version, and the coins that survive are thought to be test strikes, extremely limited issues, or possibly even off-the-books production. Their provenance often includes decades of private ownership, making them a prize for elite collectors. The last known sale of a 1920 Sydney sovereign occurred at auction where it fetched $1 million AUD, making it one of Australia's most expensive gold coins ever sold. Current estimates for a certified, well-preserved example range between $8,000 and $1.5 million AUD, depending on provenance, condition, and market demand. For collectors of Australian sovereigns, the 1920 Sydney issue is the holy grail, exceptionally scarce, historically rich, and essentially unobtainable without deep pockets and elite connections. Number 3. 1939 Roux Reverse Sixpence. The 1939 Roux Reverse Sixpence is a remarkable rarity and a curious design transition piece in Australian coinage. Most 1939 sixpence coins featured the Australian coat of arms reverse, consistent with tradition. But a small number were struck with a kangaroo reverse, a design that had been prepared but was ultimately rejected for mass production. These coins were likely struck as patterns or test strikes, but some entered circulation, making them one of the rarest circulating design. Errors in Australian history. The kangaroo reverse design is instantly recognizable to those familiar with Australian coins, but in this case it's startling on a sixpence. The kangaroo stands within a circle and the word Australia appears above. These features sharply contrast with the traditional reverse, which featured heraldic imagery. Only an estimated 10 to 20 pieces of the 1939 Roux reverse sixpence are believed to exist. Several are in museums or government archives, leaving very few available to private collectors. Their mystery and design deviation make them a centerpiece for any advanced numismatic collection. Values for these coins are astronomical. Even in fine or very fine condition, a Roux reverse sixpence can fetch $3,000 to $6,000 AUD. In extremely fine to about uncirculated condition, prices rise to $1,000 to $15,000 AUD. A well-preserved, uncirculated example, particularly one certified and pedigreed, can command $2,000 AUD or more, assuming it ever hits the open market. Number 2. 1916 Mule Halfpenny Indian Obverse. The 1916 Mule Halfpenny, also known as the Indian Obverse Halfpenny, is one of the most bizarre, dramatic, and rare minting errors in Australian numismatic history. In 1916, the Calcutta Mint in India was producing coins on behalf of Australia due to World War I, which placed stress on Australia's own production capabilities. Somehow, during this process, an Indian obverse die, intended for coins of the Indian Empire, was mistakenly paired with a reverse die of an Australian halfpenny. The result was a true mule, a coin bearing mismatched designs from two different countries. The obverse depicts King George V in regal robes, with an inscription distinct to Indian coinage. George V King Emperor instead of the usual George V DG Brit Omn, Rex FD Ind IEMP. The reverse features the traditional Australian halfpenny layout with the Commonwealth of Australia inscription and the date, i.e., only a few known examples of this mule are confirmed to exist, and they are all extremely rare. Their discovery stunned collectors and historians alike, as the error was not identified until decades after the coins had entered circulation. Because it is a true die mismatch, and not just a minor variety, this mule is considered one of Australia's top minting blunders, and arguably its most significant. Prices for this rarity are understandably high. Even heavily circulated examples can command $7,000 to $12,000 AUD. Coins in extremely fine condition are valued at $15,000 to $25,000 OD, and any known uncirculated or lightly worn examples, particularly those authenticated and graded, can exceed $3,000 to $400,000 AUD. The mule status, historical rarity, and mystique make it a showpiece for any world-class collection. Number 1. The 30 penny. The 1930 penny is the crown jewel of Australian per decimal coinage, the most famous, desired and mythologized coin in the nation's history. It is the coin that every Australian collector dreams of owning, and even non-collectors recognize it by name. Often called the coin that wasn't meant to exist, the 1930 penny was not officially released for circulation, yet a small number slipped through, most likely produced in unrecorded test batches or quietly circulated due to economic hardship during the Great Depression. The coin features King George V on the obverse and the classic 1 penny, reverse framed within a beaded circle. It looks similar to other pennies of the era, but its legendary scarcity makes all the difference. It is believed that only 1/200 to 1/500 pieces were struck, many of which were mishandled, spent, or damaged in circulation before their rarity was widely recognized in the 1940s. Today, fewer than 500 known examples exist in all grades. Most are in heavily circulated condition, with nicks, corrosion, or wear. A pristine example is a once-in-a-lifetime acquisition and usually comes with decades of proven provenance, institutional collection history, or high-end certification. In good to fine condition, a genuine 1930 penny can still command 25,000 to 5,000 AUD. Very fine examples rise to $6,000 to $9,000 AUD, while coins in extremely fine or better can fetch $100,000 to $2,000 AUD. A small number of uncirculated or near-mint examples have sold for $25,000 to over $5,000 AUD 1. Such coins sold at auction in 2019 for 115 million AUD, setting a record at the time for an Australian copper coin. The 1930 penny is more than a coin. It is a symbol of economic resilience, national identity, and the extraordinary charm of numismatics. It remains Australia's most iconic and valuable copper coin and will forever occupy the top spot in any list of rare Australian currency. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the top 50 most valuable Australian coins. From historic gold sovereigns to iconic copper pennies, each coin tells a unique story of Australia's heritage, economy, and craftsmanship. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth numismatic content. Hit the bell icon so you never miss out on rare coin updates and collecting tips. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!